and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show with dedication to fabrication. And on Lee Mack's team tonight, a TV chef who co-wrote the Hairy Dieter's book. I bought it last week, and I've already lost £9. Well, £8.99 to be precise. It's the hairy biker, Dave Myers. A woman whose working day starts at 3 a.m. So put your hands together very quietly so you don't wake her up. It's Susanna Reid. Now then, on David Mitchell's team tonight, a man who is one of the few comedy geniuses who can do the vital but thankless task of hosting a comedy panel show. Jimmy Carr. And a comedian and actor with a line in saving nature and restoring homes. But tonight we'll be after a little less conservation and a little more action. It's Griff Rhys-Jones. And so we begin with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Jimmy Carr is first up.
As a baby, I was regularly fed coffee in my bottle.
Lee Mack's team, what do you make of that?
From birth?
I thought you were going to say from your mother's breast. You were given coffee in the milk?
Well, milky coffee from about the age of 3.
This is not hot coffee, obviously.
Yeah, no, it would have been
Quite warm.
warm, milky coffee.
And when you got older, did you ever say to your parents, why did this happen?
Yeah.
My children like coffee. Nowadays, you can have what they call a kiddie-chino. A baby-chino,
Baby
sorry.
chino.
Baby-chino, I got it wrong, kiddie-chino.
Actually, a kiddie chino is just a very small pair of trousers. You probably do use them.
If they were putting coffee in your milk from
No, they weren't putting coffee in my milk. I was having coffee. Slightly milky coffee.
Okay.
Well, that is the same as putting coffee in milk.
There's a distinction between putting coffee in milk and putting milk in coffee.
What is the distinction?
Well, it's like the distinction between having a glass of water and going swimming. In the one case, you're putting water in yourself, in the other case, you're putting yourself in water.
Did they give you other sort of more adult foodstuffs at a very young age?
I think I was allowed a modicum of booze as a child.
Oh, were you? At what age were you allowed booze?
Like as a baby.
That was to offset the coffee buzz.
Yeah.
Lee, what were you given as a child?
Evo stick.
That's glue.
Yeah, but that was to stop me getting out the cot.
David, as a small child, what were they bringing you in your quarters?
Just a port and a cigar.
Took the words out of my self-parodic mouth. No, the blood of a pheasant.
Did you say pheasant or peasant?
Lee, what are you thinking? Is there any truth in this? Which way are you leaning?
I don't know. What do you think, guys?
We're skirting on the edge of giving out really bad childcare advice.
That is true, but I can't help thinking that any parent that's looking at Jimmy and thinking, I want to raise a child like that anyway, is a dodgy parent in the first place. You know what I mean?
I think it's nonsense.
I think it's nonsense.
Nonsense, OK.
I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie?
Well, we'll say it's a lie, then.
Pretty conclusively,
Yeah.
it's a lie. Jimmy Carr, were you telling us the truth then, or were you telling a lie?
I can tell you, it is absolutely true.
Wow. Yes, it's true. As a baby, Jimmy was regularly fed coffee in his bottle. Dave, you're next.
I once spent an entire Christmas locked in a bank.
David's team.
OK, by an entire Christmas, what are we talking? All 12 days, I'm assuming.
No, from Christmas Eve until about 7 o'clock on Boxing Night.
On Boxing Night?
Yes.
When the bank opened for the usual Boxing Day evening. Yes, I
No,
understand.
somebody came to let me out.
Which bank?
It was a merchant bank. I was working as a security guard, and I'd elected, due to personal trauma, that I'd spend my Christmas working overtime guarding Hill Samuel in Victoria.
And then they forgot about you.
No, because there was a rush on at Christmas. I never got relieved on Christmas morning.
Oh, we all look
We've all
forward to
been
that.
there, Rob, haven't we?
I mean, it's in the Bryden household, I have to say, it's my one Christmas treat.
It was the Christmas after John Lennon got assassinated.
And you had to go into hiding?
No,
I don't ever remember you being implicated in this.
but you see, I was living with a girl in Streatham.
Yeah, Yoko.
No. And we split up because she was seeing somebody else.
John Lennon.
So I needed to get a job.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wanted to be a bit of a martyr. So I said I'd work the Christmas shift as a security guard.
Like many of the great martyrs through history.
Dave, answer me this.
Yes,
though.
certainly, Griff.
You went through a period where you were so lonely and down that you didn't have any family of any kind whatsoever who were saying, come home for Christmas and come and, you know...
No,
live
but
for
they
Christmas.
laughed themselves silly when I phoned them up on Christmas Day and told them where I was.
How did you do that?
There was a phone in the bank.
What sort of bank is this with a phone in it? Honestly, I've tried to phone a bank over and over and again.
So there's a phone in the bank.
Yes.
Why did you only use it to phone your family and not to phone someone who could have released
Oh,
you from the bank?
I kept phoning. It was a firm in Croydon that had employed me. And I kept phoning them and they said they had nobody in to hold on. So I held on right through, like, 4 shifts.
And you accepted that?
I had no temperature. I was locked in the bank.
So at
I mean, I
8
couldn't get out.
is-
When you're guarding a
is
bank,
this how
they
you
lock
do-
you in.
They don't lock you in, surely.
Oh, they
In the
did.
bank?
Well, they wouldn't give me the keys. I was only 22.
So that's how a merchant bank ensures its security over Christmas. It locks a 22-year-old in there. And they go, it's all right, if anyone breaks in, the 22-year-old will handle it.
No, but I had a phone. You see, I could have
What were
phoned
you
for the
supposed to
police.
do if the burglars all come in? You ring Croydon, they say, we'll have someone there in the next 36 hours.
Well, how did you actually celebrate Christmas? I mean, what did you do to mark it?
I did. Before I went to work, I did take myself a small capon. I stuffed it, little sausages and everything, and I put it by me, you know, away. And I looked forward to it. And when I got back on Boxing Night, the cat had me cape on because I forgot to put it away.
The cat was wearing your cape.
No, a capon is like
What?
a type of chicken.
Oh, sorry.
So
Yeah,
you
no,
were
I didn't even have a Christmas dinner.
The cat with
The cat wasn't wearing the apron.
He said...
The cat's there
When
taking
I got-
over, doing a fry and going, well, he's gone, I'm about to look after myself.
No. He
I've seen Flip in the
clearly said...
Exorcist, really.
Like a big chicken.
No, he clearly said, I came back and the cat had me cape on. So, David, what are you thinking?
There is only one person who can answer this question here in this room. So we're going to have to turn to you, Jimmy. I wouldn't have thought there were many merchant banks in Victoria.
I don't really know much about banks in Victoria. If it was in Jersey, I'm your man.
So, is it the truth?
I think true.
Do you?
I
Quite
like
that
the
detail.
detail, the cat, the
Yeah.
capon. I love the
Yeah.
story. I'd like to buy the rights.
We think it's true.
True, we think
You all
it's true.
think it's true?
True,
OK.
absolutely true.
Dave, truth or lie?
Sadly, it's true.
Yes, it's true. Dave once spent an entire Christmas locked in a bank. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So, please welcome this week's special guest, Ray. So, let's start with Susanna. How do you know Ray?
This is Ray. I stole his title for downing a pint faster than anyone else on the BBC Breakfast team.
Dave, what is Ray to you?
This is Ray, and as teenagers, we spent 2 weeks building a 35-foot-long airship in his back garden for it only to be popped by his pet cat.
What about you, Lee? What's your relationship with Ray?
This is Ray. He taught me to drive in a hearse.
So there we are. Susanna's pint-drinking opponent, Dave's airship-building buddy, or Lee's hearse driving instructor. David's team, who do you want to start with?
How quickly can you drink a pint?
I can drink a pint in 6 seconds.
6 seconds?
Yes.
How quick was Ray?
7 seconds.
Thank God you said a number bigger.
And how long had Ray held the record?
3 years.
And how much less a man do you think he felt?
It was a tough phone call because I had to call him to tell him that his record had gone.
So you just did this at home, did you? I've had another one, Ray.
Sorry.
I'm really getting through it tonight.
No, Ray...
If you're drunk, why'd you turn northern, Jimmy?
Because of the alcohol.
All right. I don't mind. When I'm trying to fiddle the government, I always put on Jimmy's voice.
We all do different things.
We all do different voices.
Susanna, can you just fill me in? What was his role in the breakfast team then?
Ray was a floor manager of breakfast.
Right.
In Television Centre. I mean, Ray is famous for having the record of 7 seconds for downing a pint. But that was when we were at Television Centre in London. And then, of course, the breakfast team moved to Salford.
Right.
And Ray didn't come with us.
I see. So the breakfast team start downing pints when?
I've seen the show. I think they start before they film. I'm confident.
What's the context for this pint drinking? Is it an annual...
It is the annual Christmas party.
What is your pint drinking technique?
You have the pint.
And you drink it. Quickly.
I tap it once.
Yeah?
And I do it in 4 glugs.
4 glugs?
Yes.
That
You
is...
can't do a pint in 4 glugs. How big are your glugs? I'd like to know about the phone call. Did you want to call him straight away? Did you wait till the next day?
It was the next day.
Did you have to ring him? Because he's already, you know, lost his job. The place he works is closed. And so going on top of that, you may think you're remembered fondly as the fastest beer drinker here. Well, no, not even that. You've been beaten in that by one of the female presenters of the show.
He didn't care. He got a new job teaching people to drive in hearses.
Let's move on to that. So he taught you to drive why in a hearse?
Because that's the vehicle he owned, because he was a funeral director.
So what does the sign on his shop say?
Closed when he's teaching me.
Why did he teach you to drive if he was a funeral director?
Because he was a friend who was a funeral director. He just so happened to own a hearse.
Where did this all take place?
In the hearse.
No, I know
Dad sometimes said, can I have a lie down in the back if I was tired?
Where did you come from?
Southport.
Southport, the streets of Southport. You went
Yes.
to
How do you know
quiet-
I'm from Southport?
I told him.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because we've been doing this programme for 1,000 years.
Right, so you're in Southport.
Is that you, David? Is that David?
I know everything about you, including the fact that you did not learn to drive in a hearse. Nevertheless, we have to go through this.
What age did you get your driving licence?
About 22.
Wow.
22?
Why what?
About 22.
Well, I was a
did you
late
wait?
developer.
I don't
Didn't get
think he
my
was-
first girlfriend till 46. And I'm only 44. Give me a call in a couple of years.
Actually, I'd like to ask you something. What the name of this funeral director?
What, Ray's funeral directors?
Ray's funeral
No,
director.
that's not my answer. I said, what? Ray's funeral directors?
Yeah, and what was Ray's funeral directors called?
I'll tell you now. I'll tell you what Ray's funeral directors was called.
Yeah?
Jones's funeral director. Which just...
Jones, how does he do it? How does he come up with it so fast?
When he took you out for these driving lessons, did it ever happen that you had, how shall I put it, a passenger in the back?
No, but he did teach me once with a coffin in the back that didn't contain a body. It didn't contain anything. Before you go, what was in there?
Did he...
Cardo have got a bit more protection over their fruit and veg.
Should we move on to the airship?
Yes, this is Dave.
So you built an airship. I mean, this seems entirely plausible to me. You built an airship in your back garden.
No, in Ray's back garden. We had a mutual love of dirigibles.
And how old were you when you did this?
16.
What did you build your airship out of?
It was mainly air.
No. No, it was plastic sheeting, but it was sculpted so it did form the shape of an airship.
How can you sculpt sheeting?
Because the way you cut it and you put it together, when it's blown up, it will assume that shape.
And was there anything underneath it?
There was meant to be, but it never got that far, really. When the cat jumped on it, it was kind of put
With
it
his
out of
cape
commission.
billowing in the wind behind
It was a different cat.
You have terrible trouble with cats. don't you? How did you inflate it?
With a vacuum cleaner put on blow.
So you blew it up with the
Do they
vacuum
have
cleaner.
blow function? I don't know.
Do you do the vacuuming very often?
God, no!
No, what about you?
I don't know, I'd have to ask my people, but I imagine someone does.
This is terrible to see 3 grown men who've never picked up a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, I
It's like,
have
what?
picked
Oh, I picked one up, yeah, but not for vacuuming.
Yeah.
So the idea was you actually get the shape formed and then you heat the air that you put in and hopefully it would have flown.
How do you heat the air once it's already in there?
Crafting a gondola with 2 camping stoves on.
OK,
It wasn't to carry people.
you said crafting a gondola.
Yeah, 'cause
now,
we never
I know
got
what
that
all
far
3 of
because-
those words mean, but I can't get a concept out of them.
In airship terminology, in dirigibles, it is a gondola that's suspended underneath the bag of gas.
Do you know what, that fact alone,
Have
true.
we changed channels?
Where were you going to go?
Venice.
Just flying, really. It was
I was
just...
thinking, next time I get locked in a bank, I want an escape plan.
You see, I've been on an inflatables course where
Yeah, been on it.
quite
Hello.
inspired.
Hang on. What is an inflatables course?
It's for people that keep letting down their girlfriend.
It was just learning how to make things out of plastic and blowing up. It was kind of a sculptural thing.
Now, let's go back to this cat. Did he jump from a tree or a wall?
Backyard wall.
Backyard wall?
Yeah.
So the cat saw this huge inflated thing and thought, I'm
Bloody
going
hell, I
to jump
love
on
that.
it.
Yeah. No, it just jumped on the top and we were in it at the time.
You were in it? Why had you gone inside?
To work out where to put the heat shield.
Honestly, that's true. That's true. Not be any more true.
To work out where to put the heat shield. True.
Right, chaps, we need an answer. So, David's team. Is Ray Dave's airship building buddy, Susanna's pint-drinking opponent, or Lee's hearse driving instructor?
Let's go through, OK? So the her story, nonsense. I could imagine BBC Breakfast having a drinking competition.
So can I.
I'd remind you of the phrase, we were in there to see where to put the heat shield. You think he picked that?
And let's not forget the phrase, Jones's funeral director.
I think he's a mate of Dave's.
I think he looked so much like a mate of Dave's. If we stood them face to face, it would look like a vase.
So you are saying, therefore...
Airship.
Airship, right.
Airship.
OK. Ray, please reveal your true identity.
I'm Ray, and I built an airship with Dave.
Thank you very much indeed, Ray. Which brings us to our final round, quick-fire lies, in which our panellists lie not only through their teeth, but against the clock. And we start with... It's Susanna. Off you go.
My dad used to keep a coconut in the car because holding it was the only thing that would cure my travel sickness.
David's team.
Where did the coconut come from?
We used to go on this very long journey to Devon.
Yeah.
That's where we used to go on holiday. One year, when the fair came to the village where we were staying, we won a coconut, and because I was sitting with it in the car on the way home, because I was so fond of it, it was the one journey where I didn't get sick.
And you hadn't opened the coconut, you hadn't given in to
No.
the temptation, which most of us, when we get a coconut, really the thrill is the smashing open with the hammer of the coconut.
I disagree.
Oh.
It's the drilling and the sucking the milk out with the straw.
Some of us like to drill and suck, some of us like to smash.
This is what it says on robsmatch.com website.
So, talk us through the benefits. I mean, what was it about holding the hairy little fella that...
You got excited then, didn't you?
Yeah.
that's brought you such comfort?
I think it must have just been the texture of it and also the sheer distraction.
This could be the best night of your life, David.
It would help me to visualise if you could put your head in her lap. Can we do that? Can you just... You pop your head, just so we can get a feel. You could just...
Well, do you know what? He didn't take much persuading, did he?
So how would that look? Is this something we could believe in? Yeah, just slightly higher so we can see.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad he faced that way. That could have been awkward, couldn't it?
Well, you don't look as delighted with the coconut as I was expecting.
Can I just say, with my slightly spiky hair, I probably am slightly more coconut-esque. Just saying.
Too late, the coconut's been cast.
So, David. David, what are you thinking?
What do you think, Griff?
I don't believe the old hairy coconut story.
I think definitely true. So I'm saying true, Griff's saying not true.
I
So
don't know.
whoever your favourite is, just go with that.
It's like I'm, you know, a nasty dad with 2 children of very different ages. My instinct is it's true.
You think it's true? OK, Susanna, they say it's true. Were you telling the truth? Or were you, in fact, telling a lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Susanna's dad didn't used to keep a coconut in the car to cure her travel sickness. Next. It's Griff.
I pretended to Princess Margaret that I was deaf.
You pretended to Princess Margaret that you were deaf?
Yeah.
Why did you pretend you were deaf?
Because I needed I needed to explain that I didn't understand what she was saying.
What did she say?
She said, "What are you going to say?"
And how did you find out that's what she'd said?
Because I pretended to be deaf.
She
So
said...
she then said it
So
loudly
did
and
you have-
clearly.
What?
So did you have someone signing to you then?
What? She came up to me, and if you remember, she spoke in a sort of very Princess Margaret sort of voice, and so she said, we met and we were introduced, and she said, "Oh, go here, yeah."
And you said?
And I said, "I beg your pardon, ma'am." And she said, yeah. And I said, yes. And she said, "What do you mean, yes?" And I said, "I'm terribly sorry. I didn't quite catch what you said then, ma'am. I am a little deaf."
And she said...
"What are you going to say?"
And what were you going to say?
What?
What was the answer to the... What was the answer to the question? What were you going to say? What is the answer to that question?
I haven't thought it through yet.
You mean you talking to me now or to Princess Margaret?
Princess Margaret.
So you said to Princess... the answer should have been, I haven't thought it through yet.
Yeah.
But what did you end up saying?
That's what I said to her. I haven't quite thought it through yet.
But what... The answer... No.
Yeah.
I'm asking, she said, what are you going to say?
Yes.
He said, I haven't thought it through yet. And
Yes.
what I want to know is, what were you going to say in the thing that you were supposed to say?
Oh, I was going to make a speech.
And what were you going to say?
He hadn't thought it through.
I hadn't thought it through at that stage.
What did you say?
Something about art.
Pardon?
Art.
Sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
No, I said I had to make.
Oh, that's better. You can hear better with your glasses on, can't you?
Yeah, I can see you because I can see your lips moving now, and probably I might be able to read them.
Okay.
It was a competition. It was an art competition.
Were you in it?
And I was giving prizes.
Oh, you were
to the
giving
people.
prizes?
Yeah, and she'd been invited along
Right.
as the, a royal member of royalty. And so
she's-
I met her, and I couldn't understand a word she was saying, so I had to lie.
And pretend you were
and
deaf.
it all went horribly wrong.
Lee, what are you going to say? Is that true, do you think?
What do you think, Susanna?
I think it's true.
I think it's true.
I think it's true. You can't stand there going, "Hey, you what?" I think Griff would try and just smooth his way out of it.
Yeah. He's a smoothie,
I think
isn't
it's
he?
true.
He's an old smoothie. I think it's
Yeah.
true.
You think it's true? Griff, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
What? It's true.
It's true. Yes, it's true. Griff did pretend to Princess Margaret that he was deaf. Next. It is Lee.
I have hidden in a cupboard to escape Anthea Turner.
David's team.
Where were you when this happened?
In the cupboard.
Where was the cupboard?
In the room I was hiding from Anthea.
Where was the room?
Just away from Anthea Turner.
What was the occasion? And do not define the occasion or the geographical space in relation to Anthea Turner. What else was it?
It was on a TV show that I was doing.
Hide in the cupboard from Anthea. I remember seeing it on BBC Three.
Very good. I don't think Lee was ever on it, though.
Oh, that's a lie. Yeah.
What was the show called?
Pet Power.
Pet Power.
Pet Power. Yeah. It was
What was
about
the premise
cats
of
with
the show?
capes.
What were you doing on the show? What was your role on the show?
My role on the show, I was the warm-up man, like a TV warm-up man. Pet Power was a show where the pets would come on and there would be interesting stories about pets, and some of them, this particular incident, was a butchie goes up into the rafters, and I'm upstairs in my dressing room, and I'm watching it on the monitor, and I hadn't been doing comedy very long, and I was running out of things to go back and say to warm the audience up.
Yes.
And I saw the budgie go up in the rafters, panicked, and there was a knock on the door, hid in the cupboard. And they actually came into the room, but I was hiding in the cupboard.
And you mean the floor manager?
If you will.
Turned to Anthea and said, Anthea, I need you to pop upstairs and get the warm-up
I don't
man.
think it was Anthea that personally came to get me.
Oh, I see.
But
You
how will I
didn't
ever
hide
know?
from-
How will I ever know, Griff?
They knocked on the door of your dressing room.
Correct.
Then what happened?
As the door opened, I thought, oh my God, they're going to come and get me and say, come on, get out of the cupboard and do some jokes even though you've none left. And at that point, this is the bit you're not going to believe, I thought they're going to find me, and then I saw a lion, a witch, and I was able to escape into the forest, never to be seen again. No.
I'll tell you what I'm interested to know.
Yeah.
You didn't stay in the cupboard indefinitely.
No, because that would have been ridiculous.
You came out, and you must have chanced upon Anthea.
I did.
It wasn't really Anthea that went to look for him, it transpires, just the floor manager. It was a perfectly normal professional relationship. He's rather building up his intimacy with Anthea Turner. I don't think they've ever exchanged any words at all, even in the lie world where any of this happened, which is not the world we're living in at all. Narnia is more believable.
David, could that be true?
Griff, do you think it's true?
It's not true.
Jimmy?
I think it could be true. I know Lee used to do TV warm-ups. I used to do TV warm-ups as well. That's how a lot of comics start. And I do think when you start out, you run out of material.
You do.
Do you think it's true?
I think it
You've
could be
talked
true.
yourself into thinking it's
Yeah, I have,
Well,
yeah.
I listened to you earlier in the show and it didn't work, so I'm going with Griff. It's a lie.
You think it's a lie? OK, Lee, was it the truth, or were you telling a lie?
Of course, it is absolutely true.
Yes, it's true. Lee has hidden inside a cupboard to escape Anthea Turner. And that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show. I can reveal it's a draw. But it's not just a team game, and my individual liar of the week this week is Dave Myers. Yes, Dave and the truth. Like his hair and a brush, they just don't go together. Good night.
A blind date with an army doctor leaves Miranda fighting for her love life next on BBC One. Alpaca farming in Peru over on BBC Two. Wild Shepherdess with Kate Humble just started. And you've got the best seat in the house for Dizzy Rascal and Folds live from Glastonbury over on BBC Three now.